DramaCityProductions.com.
You are plugged in for the Podcast Wrestling Society, where you can get dynamic weekly pro wrestling and MMA-related content. Give us a follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PODWRES Society so that you can stay in the know.
Faith is the place, and the sky's the limit.
And if you like what you hear, give us a 5-star review and hit that subscribe button.
Woo! 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 Woo!
Now, your host, he is the one and only Troy Adams.
Welcome, everyone, to Wednesday Night Wrestling on the Podcast Wrestling Society. I'm your loving leader, benevolent host, and Midwest monster. What a maneuver! I am Troy Adams. And, well, joining me today, he is the Doc Hendricks to my Vince McMahon. The boyhood dream has come true. It's Greg. What up, Greg?
Bad Street USA?
Man, now that you bring that up, you remember when they had Brad Armstrong join the Freebirds now? And
I saw clips of it.
yeah, it was, he wasn't Brad Armstrong, for any of you out there that are wondering. He was Fantasia, and he was dressed in a bird costume, and then they realized that they could get sued for using the word Fantasia, so they called him Bad Street. And his get-up didn't get any less stupid.
I mean, opinion, but, you know, whatever.
Man, like, Bullet Bob Armstrong had, you know, a pretty good career for himself. Then he had a bunch of sons. One son had a career that's noteworthy. One.
Yeah, Brad Armstrong.
Yeah.
The greatest jobber in the history of pro wrestling.
Oh, my gosh. Well, you know, the whole reason, you know, the whole thing that Eric Bischoff saw for Chris Jericho bringing him in was, you know, I can see, I got a program set up for you and Brad Armstrong, according to Chris Jericho's book. I don't know if any of you have listened to that 83 Weeks episode or the...
Well, let me tell you something. If you're going to draw money with someone, why not Brad Armstrong, man?
Yep.
I mean, look what he did for the, what was the name of that group, Master P? The No Limit Soldiers.
Oh, God.
They renamed him to BA. Just BA.
Wow. Yeah. Wasn't he also the same Armstrong that was, he was the hippie? Can't even say it. Buzzkill.
Yep.
It's me. It's that B-U-double-Z.
Oh, my God.
He said this.
Should we stop? Because I forgot he passed away. Maybe we should speak ill to dead.
Look, I'm not speaking ill.
I really forgot he...
Look, for the record, I'm not speaking ill of him. I'm speaking ill of whoever the hell booked him, okay?
That's fair, because he was not a bad wrestler, so...
No, I mean, I didn't watch much of his stuff, but everybody I heard talk about him said he was really good, so... Was he the one that was, because I know one of the Armstrong brothers teamed up with Tracy Smothers, I want to say, in WCW. Was that him?
No, I think that was Scott.
Okay, I was gonna say
Hashtag hard body ref.
My God, he wasn't even the one getting steroids either, allegedly. But that's beside the point. But yeah, you know, enough's enough. We talked a bunch of crap and whatever.
Don't worry, we'll do an Armstrong episode one day.
Oh yeah, definitely. We'll put it on a poll. Not the Vince Russo kind of poll, bro. Put it on a poll, bro. Man. But no, we're not.
Idiots.
To all of you out there, before we do our normal shilling of our stuff, if I sound a little out of it tonight, it's because I've had the flu since Tuesday. Like, at first I was like, I'm just feeling a little under the weather. By Tuesday night, I was like, no, I'm sick. That thing hits quick. And I have been medicating myself up for days, and I'm starting to come out of it, but not fully. So just fair warning. You know what's funny, Greg, is we have an episode now in the archives of you having the flu, and now we have an episode where I have the flu.
Yep.
Man, good timing of this, I guess. So if the old golden pipes aren't what they used to be, it's because of that. So I'll try my best. It about killed me doing that intro, but it is what it is. We're going to do our normal shilling of our stuff right here before we get into the rest of the show. So let's just take a break now, let you know about... Well, we're not going to tell you how to advertise with the podcast. That's taking a break. However, if you are interested, you can still email me directly at JapaneseProWrestling@gmail.com. No, that was not the official email for this podcast. It's unrelated. Just don't ask. But anyway, hit me up there or slide into the DMs of our various social medias, and we'll hook you up. But we will tell you about our associations with WrestlingWithWrestling.com and how you can pick up some awesome swag. I'm about to give you 3 websites. These first 2 here are for our merchandise that you definitely want to go check out. Trust me, you're not going to regret it. After the holidays, I'm sure you got a little bit of money rolling around, and tax season is coming up. You'll have a little bit of extra money. Go to redbubble.com/people/pod-rest-society or shop.spreadshirt.com/podcast-wrestling-society. There you can get a bunch of great logos, funny sayings, and tribute logos for this here podcast on a bunch of different stuff. You can get t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, hats, mugs, travel mugs, water bottles, various kinds of bags, stickers, pins, whatever you want. There's a ton of different merchandise on there, even phone cases and tablet cases, whatever. It's all on there. You can get your favorite swag from your favorite podcast. Like I said, redbubble.com/people/pod-rest-society or shop.spreadshirt.com/podcast-wrestling-society. And this last website is very important. Go to wrestlingwithwrestling.com. There you can see all of the biggest news from across the wrestling world that we can't always keep up with here between the one-a-week episodes that we got. Plus, you can keep up with this here podcast as well as other great podcasts like the podcast by Jacob Grandi, friend of the show, the Andre Corbeil Show, and many, many more. They give you rundowns of all your favorite wrestling organizations from across the world. And, you know, if you can't watch it live, there you go. They've also got exclusive interviews with your favorite wrestling personalities that have either been in the business or are currently in the business. You can see videos from indie promotions from here in the States and abroad, and much, much more. Go to wrestlingwithwrestling.com, covering all 4 corners of the ring. All right, now that we're done shilling and everything, there's not really a whole lot of news stories I want to get to. I want to blow through, real quick any news stories we have, because there is a lot that we got to cover as far as quote-unquote big events we're covering today. In order, WWF SummerSlam 1995. Oh, joy. And then WCW's Fall Brawl WarGames. But, yeah, real quick, let's just breeze through some of these news stories here. All right, matches on. Let's switch it up here, get to the shoot sports here, because I want to go on a real...
Shoot, bro!
Wow. I want to go on a real short rant about the only wrestling story I got. It's going to be real short. Don't expect, me to drone on about it, but there's something sticking in my craw.
We know. You're short. Your stories are short. You got it.
Ha, ha, ha. Hey, big guy, small guy, big voice, whatever. Real quick about the shoot sports. Tonight, 2 big events went on. For those of you who were recording over the weekend. Yeah, Saturday.
No, it happened last Saturday. Today's Wednesday.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
You're right. Okay, on Saturday, 2 big events happened in the world of shoot combat sports. One of them was, we'll get to the UFC event first, because you didn't watch it, did you?
No. I was at the theater watching the other shoot, bro.
Right. Well, I did not watch it. Well, okay, I saw the replay of it, because I walked out of the room long enough to when I walked back in, the main event was over. So, but I did see a replay. It was T.J. Dillashaw versus Henry Cejudo. Man, Cejudo just cremated Dillashaw, man. It was
the second fastest title finish, I believe, in history.
30 seconds, you said?
Yep, 32 seconds, something like that. Yeah, 32 seconds.
Yeah, it was a flash, I'll say that. And it was UFC's debut on ESPN, wasn't it?
Yeah, ESPN Plus.
Okay. Yeah, Henry Cejudo over TJ Dillashaw. Well, they're not showing the winner here yet for some reason. Still says to be determined. But it did happen. I don't know the results of the whole show. I just know that was a quick one. And so Henry Cejudo walks out of there as your winner, and you were talking about, he's for real now.
Yeah, I mean, people just looked at him as like the wrestler who couldn't fight or strike. I mean, you want to pull that one back?
Well, I did see Alan Crowder defeated Greg Hardy in second.
Yeah, disqualification.
Yeah, I did not see how though, but people said
Greg Hardy kneed him right in the face when he was clearly down.
Okay, yeah, because I heard people just like online were just destroying Greg Hardy about this, saying that he's a dirty fighter.
Yep.
For those of you, by the way, you were correct with the 32 seconds exactly. For it was via TKO for Henry Cejudo. Man, Joseph Benavidez defeaed Dustin Ortiz in the third round, via decision. So. And then Paige Van Sant actually got the win over Rachel Ostovich via submission in the second round. And Glover Teixeira got a win. How about that? He defeated.
Yeah, he says he's back.
Yeah, he defeated Carl Robertson Robertson. Excuse me. For a point of reference, Glover has had a total of 35 fights in his career. Carl Robertson has had a total of 9 fights in his career. So, a little bit of a disparagement there. Whatever. But, yeah, so that's how that one worked out. I did not see the full card.
The only prelim that mattered was Cowboy Cerrone.
Did
back at 155 and dominated.
That's awesome. I actually do like Cerrone. I didn't know if he was going to win, but
he's in my fave 5, dog.
Wow. I did. Yeah, I see he defeated Alexander Hernandez via TKO.
And the rest of the prelims, I have no clue who those guys are. So
yeah, half of the for reference, I'm looking at the results on Google. Half of these people don't even have like little pictures next to their names. It's just like the like if you haven't picked a profile picture for yourself on your Gmail, that's what it looks like. So that should tell you something. The rest of these, yeah, I don't recognize any of these names. But then again, I'm not, I only watch here and there. I'm only an avid fan. So bringing it back. Oh, yeah. But all right, so that's that. As far as boxing goes, okay, just to start it off, Manny Pacquiao whooped some butt, and he won. He beat Adrian Broner. Yeah, he decidingly beat Adrian Broner.
I thought he won 11 of the 12 rounds.
Yeah,
I might even argue 12, but at least 11.
Yeah, there was one judge, one or two. I think one judge gave him 3 rounds, 4 rounds, something like that. 2 judges gave him 4, and one of them gave him 2. Okay. And one of the commentators gave him 1 round.
Yep.
So, and then you gave him none. So, I mean, either way, regardless, he lost. Okay, he lost handily.
He lost 7 or more easily. Okay? Yeah.
So
say it like that, which means he lost.
Yeah, it's not even close. So he definitely decidingly lost. On one hand, I have the Ohio loyalty where I'm like, oh man, I kind of wanted to see the Ohio boy win. On the other hand, I'm like, man, this guy is just so full of crap, and he runs his mouth, and I can't have the double standard. because I've complained about other fighters doing that in either boxing or or not wrestling, but boxing or UFC. And I've been like, man, I'm not going to root for them. All they do is run their mouth and whatever. So I'm not going to pull the double standard with Adrian Broner. Forget him, especially the way he acted after the fight. Like, the guy doing the interviews on Showtime goes right up to him. Before he even gets close to him, he's like, man, bring your mother effing ass over here. And I'm like, holy crap. Like, he is just...
Yeah, the guy straight up said, we're going to do this professionally or we're not doing it.
Yeah, I wanted him to just take his mic and get the hell out. But nope, they cut the interview, and man, this dude just went on. I won that fight. They know I won that fight. The only reason they say that Pacquiao won that fight is because they're trying to build up money between him and Floyd and whatever. I'm like, man, just shut up, man. Or maybe take off the gloves. Pacquiao will kill you for real, man. Like, come on.
You don't need to build money for Mayweather, by the way.
Yeah,
you mentioned his name on the marquee. He gets 20 million buys. So.
Yep. Well, and they straight up asked Pacquiao, they're like, you going to fight him again? And he was like, yeah, I'll fight him again. If he wants to fight, sure, whatever. And they asked him, they're like, just nod your head if you accept the fight. And he just, like, he wouldn't even look at the camera. Like, yeah, he'll accept the fight if it's under his terms, when he wants, how he wants, where he wants. It all has to be according to Floyd, but he'll take it if he knows that he can get some more cash out of it. Because he's always, quote-unquote, retired. But if he sees enough money, and he knows for a fact he'll win, he'll come out of retirement. You know it.
Kind of like the Rolling Stones in a way.
Dude, the Rolling Stones, I think they'll die on stage. Like, they'll never give it up. And I don't want to see, however many ancient old men, just die on stage during a concert. But that's seriously, like, it's kind of like Ric Flair in the ring. If they left Ric Flair to his own devices, he'd die in the ring. So,
yep.
I like how they said, like, there was a story a couple weeks ago, oh, he was cleared to take bumps again. I'm like, no, God, no. Just please. Conrad needs to sit on him.
Wow.
What? Just keep him in place. Be like, no. Now, jumping from the shoot sports and, the real stuff, bro, to our, our world of wrestling. I have a couple things to say about this, and I'm sure you do too. The first stories broke a couple of days ago, and trust me, I have the updates on these since these stories broke, but it was originally said that Mike and Maria Kanellis asked for their releases from WWE. Shortly thereafter, it said the Revival asked for their releases from WWE. Now, as it stands as of this recording, I don't know about the Revival. It's still a maybe. For Mike and Maria, I don't know the full story because this is what Ryan Satin of I think he was of Pro Wrestling Sheet said. He did this whole diatribe making himself out to be the good guy here on Twitter, saying, "Well, I asked Mike and Maria for an update. I said I heard rumors about this, and all I got back was no comment. So if you want me to print the right story, then you should tell me instead of acting like I'm the enemy." It's like, wait a minute. And other people called him out on this. They're like, so you got back no comment, so you instantly go, I'm printing the story that you asked for your releases. Are you kidding? Who does that?
Yeah, I saw that.
You've got to.
And he was like
to
trying to justify it too. Oh, well, it's okay because they didn't deny it, therefore it must be true. He didn't say that, but that's how he acted.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Okay, like full disclosure, in real life, off of this podcast, my shoot job is I'm a reporter, a news reporter, not a wrestling reporter, a news reporter, like, real world stuff. If I did something like that, I would probably be fired, or at the very least reprimanded very badly. If I did it multiple times like these idiots do, then yeah, I would be fired. But these guys are like, oh, we demand, we deserve respect. We're reporters just like everybody else. No, you're not. Don't sit there and print that garbage and they don't even technically retract it. They're just going, they blame, like this, they blamed Mike and Maria. Well, they didn't tell me that, my sources were wrong, therefore, like, give me a break. Since then, Maria has said, I did not ask for my release. Mike, however, I think he did, but I don't know. It's so
And people
stupid.
get mad at me when I talk crap about these city reporters. I like that.
I will say this. I mean, somebody out there listening can correct me if I'm wrong. The only ones I did not see print all of this stuff as fact was the Wrestling Observer and Uncle Dave. So I'll we crap on him all the time, but, I'm going to give credit, if there is any to be had, on not printing that garbage. I don't think he reported any of that. So everybody else did, though, like it was gospel. And I've been told by multiple people that Ryan Satin is not to be trusted. So I just follow him just on Twitter just to see the crap like this that he posted. I'm like, mother of God. He's trying to justify it. Like, dude, just admit you're bad at your job and move on.
Well, no, because, there's people that believe him. And
yeah, I know. You can't admit.
If he says I'm bad at my job, then some people are going to, be lost without him.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. It's so stupid. And, I'm not trying to sit here and polish up a soapbox and stand on it, but seriously, where the hell is the journalistic integrity? If you're going to claim that you're a journalist, then act like it. Get facts before you print them. Don't hear a rumor, and then when somebody says no comment, he's like, well, the rumor must be true. Gonna print it as fact. Give me a break. All right, I think I'm off my soapbox here. But why I did.
So bottom line is, don't trust Ryan Satin.
Yes, and it's not just him. There are others too that were like, oh, well, Ryan Satin's reporting it, therefore must be true, and they reported it. And I will say I shared it, but, I share all the, a bunch of that kind of stuff. And, I mean, sure, yeah, trash on me because I shared it, whatever. But I'm seeing it everywhere, and I'm like, well, I'll share it. I didn't claim, well, this is the truth, and I found it out on my own. So that's my justification for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't believe it when I first saw it until they're gone, and that totally just justifies how I look at it.
I will say this.
That's why I don't believe it.
Yeah, I will say this. If I have also heard that Revival has asked for their release, but they're not having it granted. WWE told them, it's no, we're not giving you your release. Which, if that is the case, I mean, I get why WWE's doing it, but why keep, are they going to continue to book the Revival if they have asked for their release? And they're like, look, you're going to continue to wrestle for us as disgruntled employees.
Well, this is what happened with Le'Veon Bell and the Steelers, so it's the same thing. I just, if someone wants out, let him go. What's the point?
Yep. Hey, they're under no compete clauses, but if they do what most people are thinking and they go to AEW, they're not going to run a show for 4 months? So
yeah, I know. That needs to stop being a thing. They're not even technically a company yet.
Yeah.
Wait till they run a show and then we'll talk about going over to AEW.
Well, I'm just saying if they do, I mean, that gives them time to ride out that no compete. So
I think they do better in Ring of Honor personally.
I'd love to see them versus the Briscoes. I mean, if they made a stop there, that'd be awesome. I think they do well in New Japan as well, but I don't know. None of it's a fact yet, so we'll have to wait and see. As far as if Mike Kanellis is gone, Mike Bennett, whatever the hell you want to call him, if he really is gone, somebody did point out on Twitter, they were like, seems a little weird. He comes in, he gets rehab, has a baby, leaves.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Did he have all this in mind? It was like, let's go to WWE. We'll make a bunch of money while I go to rehab and sit on the shelf, taking care of my new baby. But then again, Maria has went on Twitter and complained that her and her husband haven't been on TV. I don't know. And then other people have pointed out that Maria has never been on Total Divas, even though she's apparently campaigned for it. And I guess Maria and Maurice in the past have both blamed the Bellas for them not being on Total Divas. I don't know.
Oh, man. That's a huge loss, not being on Total Divas.
Well, it kind of is, because apparently they get paid well for that crap. So, and not that Maria's ever been known for her expertise in the ring,
Don't tell her that.
Well,
Hashtag diva.
Hey, she's got some assets, okay? It's just not, her in-ring prowess. But whatever. Before I get too chauvinistic here, anything else of real great importance that we should touch on before we move to the actual subject at hand?
No, I feel like it was a slip.
Yeah, I think that was about it. And I'm off my soapbox finally. But yeah, so let's hit the bell here real quick. And just to let all of you know, I know this Sunday, is the Royal Rumble. You, Greg, will be in Phoenix for NXT and the Royal Rumble. So,
yes, sir.
First of all, congratulations on all that. I am looking forward to it.
Thanks.
And second of all,
a lot of hard work and saving, trust me.
Oh yeah, I bet. For all of you out there, Kyle will not be on the podcast next week because, well, I mean, you all can. We've heard the feedback, and while Kyle's input is valued, we will be porting our review over to the YouTube, where you guys can listen to it and watch it at your leisure, where we review NXT and the Rumble. However, the podcast, I know a lot of you have given us great feedback about these episodes right here, where we review classic stuff that is not always good classic. But yeah, we do our back and forth thing, and we talk about some old stuff. Well,
yeah, that's our thing, though.
Yeah, kind of. We got some stuff coming up in the future.
Anybody can talk about the good stuff. Come on, it's the crap that's fun.
I will say I do enjoy those podcasts from other people where they people that were there, and even some that weren't there. That they cover just the bad stuff. Those are hilarious. And I listen back to our own podcast. I don't know if that sounds bad or not, whatever, I don't care, but I listen back to our stuff and I laugh, so I like it. So I hope you all do too. We've been getting some great feedback on the YouTube. It's been nice. I'm trying to get all caught up on our archived episodes on there because it has been demanded. So there you go. But yeah, so next week we will come at you with part whatever it is. I don't even remember what part we are now on this 1995 review. But yeah, we'll cover that at the end of the episode. But right now, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Greg, you and I are going to dive headfirst into SummerSlam 1995. Are you ready for that?
Hell yeah!
Oh, man. We'll be right back.
Drama City Productions presents.
Hey, it's Ben here, host of the Regular Stories podcast, a podcast where I interview interesting people about their lives. These are not celebrities, they're not the elite. These are regular people, and these are their stories. You can follow us on Facebook at Regular Stories and on Instagram at Regular Stories. We are everywhere that you can get a podcast. We are on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, just about everywhere else. Look up Regular Stories Podcast.
Drama City Productions.com.
Paycheck. Red. Let's talk about Paycheck and Red. Because these boys don't just talk the talk. They are best friends. They see eye to eye. They communicate. They understand each other and they understand the world we live in. They're weird enough to superimpose pictures of their faces onto pictures of other people. Let that sink in. Johnny Paycheck. Wayne Red Mincy.
All right, we are back, and it is time for SummerSlam 1995.
Wait.
What?
Hold on. We're really doing this?
What do you mean?
I thought we were just joking the whole time.
Oh no, we're covering the show.
I thought we were just joking.
Nope. I hope you wore your boots, Greg, because there's a lot of crap I'm shoveling on this one.
Oh man, no, I quit. I didn't know we were really doing it.
Hey, you got through the other crap we've done this year already.
This may be the worst pay-per-view ever. That's what I'm saying.
You're saying that after King of the Ring? Come on, man.
This is worse.
We'll see. Well, we'll let the listeners
I have
decide.
seen.
I did too. I was texting you while watching this, and I was like, dude, and it was like my worst day with the flu, and I'm like, I think
I remember I was at work. I didn't respond much just for obvious reasons, but
right.
I was laughing so hard at some of the crap you said.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I have headaches, chills, fever, I can't eat anything, like I have no strength. The flu. What? Oh yeah.
And you had the flu.
Yeah, because and I was like, and I'm having to watch WWF SummerSlam 1995, and you're like, oh man, yeah, that'll make you feel better. Well, this one, the tagline, by the way, was "Face the Heat."
Yep.
Yeah, that something. It was hot garbage. I'll say that. It was on August 27th, 1995. Close to a month before I turned 5. So that should make you feel old, Greg. Makes me feel old.
Yeah, why don't you shut up and move on, okay? We don't talk about that.
It took place at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This is where the
and we all know how much TJ loves Pittsburgh, let me tell you.
I do love the Penguins, so I didn't mind this. This is where the Penguins play. And
well, screw them even harder than the Steelers.
Yeah, because they've won multiple
They took my only shot at the world title.
Man, that stinks. Well, they kept calling it the Igloo all night.
Took the one from the Warriors, but we're not going to get in that.
Yeah. The attendance was actually 18,062. I didn't know this arena held that many. This is a big arena. Like that's more than the Barclays holds. That kind of surprised me. But again, I love how they're like, the tagline is "Face the Heat," and they're, this is SummerSlam. By the way, show's taking place in the Igloo in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Like, what the hell? Whatever.
Oh,
sorry.
I see the pun now. Oh.
Yeah. Well, Vince McMahon and Jerry Lawler are doing the commentary together. McMahon sends it to Dean Douglas in a, quote, remote classroom. He will be analyzing the matches tonight. And Douglas runs his fingernails down the chalkboard and gives us all the definition of the word Dean. Yay. Just thrilling television. This was, by the way, about 2 months after, almost 2 months after he was dropping the F-bomb on ECW television. So keep that in mind.
Also keep in mind he's in his hometown here.
Yep. Yeah, I love that. They're like, we're going to debut you in your hometown and everybody's going to hate you. Like, okay. Whatever. Either way. Opening match sets the tone. This actually wasn't terrible. The opening match is 1, 2, 3.
No, I thought the opener was actually decent.
Yeah, it was the 1, 2, 3 Kid versus Hakushi, who did not have Shinjo with him, even though they did mention him on commentary. They showed a video of a match before SummerSlam where Barry Horowitz actually pinned Hakushi, making sure that everybody knows he's a jobber now. Lawler says, these people here in Pittsburgh are saying 1, 2. What comes after 2? I popped for that one, for obvious reasons. The finish is the Kid goes for a spinning wheel kick. Hakushi catches him, drops him with a slam, and then pins him for the win. I said, pretty good opener between these two. 2 3/4 Uncle Dave's, actually. One of the better matches of the night. Yeah, I mean, you'll see what comes next. Anyway, to the back, where Doc Hendricks is interviewing King Mabel. Hendricks is acting like he just took a snoot full of coke. Like, he was insane. But Mabel completely messes up his line, saying, "Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you." Like, isn't it the other way around? Anyway.
Well, maybe this is the royal way to say it.
I guess. He finishes...
Why am I defending this?
I don't know. But he finishes by saying, "Long live the king," and then he laughs heartily. Ha, ha, ha. He had terrible teeth, by the way. I was just like... I hate to keep pointing that out, but I'm like, dude.
Do you realize that every show we've done on this series, you've buried Mabel at some point?
Well, it's not hard to do. Trust me.
I'm just simply pointing it out.
Yeah, well, trust me. He's in the main event. There's plenty of burial to come. Just you wait.
Stay tuned.
Hashtag stay tuned. This next match, well, it was something. It was Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus Sparkplug Bob Holly.
Sparky Plug.
Oh, yeah.
Sparky effing Plug.
Yep. This one was weird. I don't know. Just seeing these guys and these gimmicks were just so weird. Lawler says that Helmsley's version of fast food is if someplace served Kentucky Fried Quail or pheasant under glass, or squab. Vince McMahon seemed very confused about all of this. He didn't get the joke. Helmsley begs off Holly for a while, not wanting to touch him. I don't blame him. Lawler craps on racing, saying that, quote, "It doesn't take an athlete to sit in a car and turn left for 900 miles.
Oh, man.
I know Kyle would very much disagree with that, but either way.
I don't think I will disagree with that.
Yeah. They show a split screen of British Bulldog coming into the building for some reason. I don't...
He just turned heel on Monday night.
Ah, okay. Well, there you go. Helmsley looks like he can't run the ropes very well. I don't know why. He just looked like he had 2 left feet at this point. It was weird. But thank God he improves. The finish is Holly goes for a back body drop, but Helmsley catches him with a pedigree. Notes, I said, average match, 2 Uncle Daves. Are
we going to gloss over the referee's epic mullet, by the way? Or I feel we got to talk about that.
Well, the little dude with the blonde mullet?
Yeah, the mullet. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah, most referees in this time period had a mullet, so it's just like I.
Well, it's got to get mentioned though, or it's not a 1995 review.
That is true. Yeah,
I think Bob Holly had one too.
I can't tell if he had a mullet or if he just combed it all back. Like his hair was like perfectly coiffed. Like, you know, he looked like he really cared about his hair at this point. And then after a while, he just said, "Screw it, shaving my head." Just like
Roll
that.
Tide.
Yeah, just like that, because he's from Alabama. So you're probably right with the Roll Tide thing. I was like, "Screw it. Give me the belt, and I'll beat everybody. And then I'll shave my head." Bombastic Bob. He was
wow.
What? He was the best.
God, man.
What? Got to remind everybody about the best version of Midnight Express there ever was. Bombastic Bob and Bodacious Bart.
Every wrestling purist is going to cut you.
Whatever. They show a clip of WWF guys doing a tug of war contest with Pittsburgh firefighters for charity. The WWF Superstars won because they had Mabel, and the firefighters had to go swimming. That seemed like an unfair advantage to put the 500-pound guy in the back. Either way. Next, we got... it just keeps getting better. We got the Blue Brothers with Uncle Zebekiah taking on the Smoking Guns. They all got jobber entrances. But when they introduce the Smoking Guns, they play their theme and project the Texas flag on the mat. It's weird. I don't know. But they all got jobber entrances. I literally wrote down, this is the whitest tag team match I've ever seen. Just, man.
You could mean that in a couple different ways.
Yeah. Well, look at that high and tight mullet that Billy had rocking, man.
Hell yeah.
He hadn't quite hit his peak of rockabilly yet, though. Billy uses the Faymaster as a cutoff move, which shocked me. They finished...
Say that name again?
What? The Faymaster?
There it is.
Had to get it in. They finished the match
yeah.
They finished the match with the Guns side slam leg drop combo finisher. Notes, I said, another average match, 2 Uncle Daves. Next, they show a video package.
Rockabilly and the other half of the Midnight Express.
Oh, yeah.
Against Creative Control. Come on, man. That's money.
Oh, my gosh. You went with their best gimmicks. I was going to say Rockabilly and the guy who got knocked out by Butterbean, but whatever. They show a video package where Barry Horowitz was able to break his years-long losing streak against Skip of the Body Donnas, also known as Chris Candido for all of you out there. And then he beat him again in the same month. Because, you know, this is a feud that had to happen, Greg. And it had to culminate at SummerSlam. My God.
I remember, real quick, I remember watching this whole feud build up. It was on that show, The Action Zone.
Oh, man.
You looking back at it, when I was a kid, I vividly remember him saying, "Oh, this guy Horowitz hasn't won a match in like years."
Yeah.
And like they hammered that home.
Yeah. They kept talking about that here too, and like made him look like the biggest loser ever. Which, I mean, that was his whole gimmick, was he was a loser. But and then he comes out to that Nikita whatever song, you know, the stereotypical Jewish song. It's just like,
yeah, because that wasn't racist at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that was by. When he wrestled in WCW, didn't he have the Star of David on his trunks?
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, not saying that this wasn't all his choosing. Like Colt Cabana always uses the Star of David on his stuff. It's just like, it's funny. It's like he has to throw it in everybody's face. He's like, "Hey, I'm Jewish," in case you haven't figured it out. But whatever. So it was Skip and Sonny versus Barry Horowitz. My God, I had a baby during this match. It went on forever. I will say, Sonny sure does look roll tide here, man. But when did she not? I did not look up the timing of this. Just for curiosity's sake, I have to look. This match went on, oh my gosh. It only went on for 11 minutes and 21 seconds. In my head, it went on for a half an hour. God, this was boring. But yeah, so Barry, to paint a picture for all of you out there, is wearing blue bedazzled suspenders, and his mullet is high and tight.
Hell yes! And it's got the great curls going on, too.
Hell yeah! He's got the Jew curls going. He's got the high and tight mullet. It's fantastic. Like, this is a whole different level of mullet. This is Jew mullet. Horowitz starts off hot against Skip. Sonny throws in the towel for Skip for some reason, but the ref does not accept it. Lawler and McMahon randomly debate about what would happen if Cisco and Ebert fought. Like, this, I'm not joking. This was an honest debate that went on for over a minute between them about what would happen if Cisco fought Ebert. Who gives a crap? And then McMahon ends it by saying, well, if they ever did face off, it should be right here in the World Wrestling Federation. Like, what? God. Anyway, Hakushi randomly comes out.
It really gives you like a look in his creative mind.
Yeah, we'll say that. In the mind of a Diary of a Madman. But Hakushi randomly comes out during the match because him and Skip had accidentally cost him the match against Barry Horowitz earlier in the night. But Hakushi comes out, and him and Skip stare each other down. Horowitz rolls up Skip in a small pack. I skipped one part. Hakushi gets ready to fight. He gets on the apron. He springboards over both guys and just rolls out of the ring. Horowitz rolls up Skip in a small package, and he wins again. And then Sonny loses her effing mind. That was funny.
Wouldn't you too if your guy just lost to Barry freaking Horowitz?
Yeah, the guy who pats himself on the back. Yeah. Oh man. My notes. I said this was a main event anywhere in the world.
Hell yeah.
I said it wasn't horrible.
Marquee at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah.
In front of 100,000 people in Jerry's world.
Right? Yeah, I just they missed out, man. I'm telling you. Now these two could have sold out the that big old arena in L.A. for WrestleMania 7.
Damn right.
Now, I said it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. This damn thing dragged on way too long. Sonny was the best part of the whole thing. 2 Uncle Daves.
It wasn't horrible. It was Horowitz.
Horrible Wits, as they kept calling him, which was super original, by the way.
I could have did a hell lot better than that.
Yeah, well, that's what they kept calling him. I'm just reporting the facts here, man. That's all I'm doing. Now we go to the back with Dean Douglas, who, oddly enough, would have a close association with Skip and Sonny later on in his career. But he had the word vivify written on the board now. He gives us all the definition. I didn't give a damn enough to write it down or remember what he said. He talks about how horrible it was that Horowitz was able to beat Skip via distraction. And then Douglas uses a lot of big words during this whole segment. I didn't care. Staying in the back, Todd Pettengill is in Shawn Michaels' locker room. He shows highlights of the WrestleMania 10 ladder match. Michaels claims that a ladder match is the, quote, most grueling match in the history of the WWF. Sure. And he says that nothing is going to stop him from retaining the Intercontinental title. I almost forgot that this was the show that amazing match happened on. And I'm not being sarcastic when I say that, by the way. This was an amazing match. And I forgot because the rest of this card just sucked so much butt. I don't know. That if you have to watch one thing on the show, make it that ladder match. Everything else, just skip.
Why would you skip the main event?
I don't know, Greg. We'll get to it. Speaking of things you should probably skip, we got Alundra Blaze defending the women's title against Bertha Faye with Harvey Whippleman. Here's the point where I texted you and I said, Harvey Whippleman's here. It got a little better. The ring announcer announced...
Apparently, real quick, side note, you didn't know he was the former women's champion.
I did not. I still don't know the whole story about that.
Well, I'll have to get into that, yeah.
Well, the ring announcer announces Alundra Blaze as a he. Not joking. And at first I thought I was hearing things, but Vince McMahon quickly corrects him. Says that's a she. Oh, God. McMahon refers to one of Bertha Faye's feet as a hoof. Classy. Lawler says, you've heard of buns of steel? Well, I think Bertha Faye has buns of cinnamon. Bertha Faye was only in WWF so that they could make fat jokes at her. Which, oddly enough, was the only reason they picked her up in WCW. So, she found her niche. I said, I feel so bad for Alundra Blaze as she looks like she's wrestling a cement mixer full of gravel. Bertha Faye was bad. She was not a good wrestler. Not to speak ill of the dead, but she was bad. Faye actually wins with a sit-out powerbomb. Vince calls the title the, quote, Big Ladies Women's Championship. I was like, why is it the Big Ladies Women's Championship now? I don't know. My notes, I said, this match sucks so bad. Bertha was awful. One Uncle Dave. Alundra was, visibly angry with her a couple times and just, beat the snot out of her. as much as she could.
I like how it was just like a clean finish, too.
Yeah, I know. Like, wow, okay. Just
like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I remember even watching that as a kid. I'm like, wow, really?
Yep.
Like, because...
And then at the next pay-per-view, which, not, spoilers, she's modeling T-shirts. That's it.
Well, she's a Nitro girl in WCW for a while. Her name's Beef.
No, Alundra. Like, she was modeling...
All right, well, that's a fun fact about the other one, but...
That, oh, God. Beef. God dang it. Oh. Why? Did we cover that, by the way?
Because, bro, we did, yeah.
Now in the archives. But they show a promo for The Undertaker having his urn stolen and melted down. Here is the payoff, by the way, that you couldn't remember. The creatures of the night had laid out a black wreath for The Undertaker because he no longer had the urn. Kama took the wreath and tore it up in the ring, and one of the creatures of the night climbed in the ring, and then Kama beat the crap out of him. And apparently this was the last straw for The Undertaker. And Paul Bearer is seen backstage giving a, quote, Coliseum home video exclusive. Kind of cool that we get those on the network. He says that Taker will put an end to the Supreme Fighting Machine, and then Taker cuts a pretty great promo telling Kama to rest in peace. So all standard stuff. Oh, this was one of the matches I remember as a kid. It was Kama with Ted DiBiase versus The Undertaker with Paul Bearer in a casket match. Wasn't terrible, but, compared to the other stuff on the show, it was actually fairly decent.
It's pretty bad that the matches that are the gimmick matches are the ones to watch on the second biggest show of the year.
You're not lying. The crowd blows their crap for The Undertaker. This is where I wrote, how is he not the WWF champion? I mean, like, their ovation was deafening when he came out. Undertaker...
Because Diesel, pal.
I guess so. Taker starts off hot against Kama. Kama tries to not act scared through most of the match, but every time he's close to the casket, he gets freaked out. Undertaker actually skins the cat and head scissors Kama into the casket. Believe it or not, that was pretty awesome. DiBiase distracts Taker long enough for Kama to escape. DiBiase lays the boots into Taker at ringside, and Paul Bearer rips off his jacket and runs at them. Like, the referees have to hold him back. This part of the match, like, I was popping for this. I was like, holy crap, Bear's moving. Like, he was hot, and this was hilarious and awesome. Crowd got super into it, too. Kama hits a power slam and goes for a pin for a long time before realizing that he can't win that way. When both men get thrown into the casket, it starts falling apart, like the inside lining just, like, falls on him. Kama tries to crawl out, but Taker pulls him back in and punches him down. Taker hits a tombstone and rolls Kama into the casket for the win. That's the finish. My notes, I said, these two actually work pretty well together, but the match went way too friggin' long. Both men looked pretty winded by the end of it. I think they asked a little too much of them. This match went on 16 and a half minutes. Long-ass casket match. I gave it 2 3/4 Uncle Dave's. Not bad. Undertaker's celebration didn't last very long, by the way, because they had to get the promo in for Isaac Yankem DDS.
Hell yes. The greatest gimmick in history.
Oh, man. Apparently, never bring that up to Glenn Jacobs if you meet him. Ever. Because that pisses him off. He will not talk to you after that.
Was it the gimmick or the mullet?
Maybe both. I don't know. Because a local radio station was just messing around with him. They're like, so do we have Kane on the phone, or is it Isaac Yankem DDS? And he was like, all right, guys, talk to you later. And he hung up on him. And they talked to Stone Cold Steve Austin later, and he was like, oh yeah, never bring that up. Like, he legit gets mad. That's kind of funny, but a nice little aside. But anyway, to the back.
Do you have a Jax figure of that?
DDS? No, thank God. They never made one, I don't think. If they did,
they made a Mattel one though.
Seriously? Isaac Yankem?
Yep.
Wow. Why?
Because
I guess there are people out there that collect terrible figures. I mean, they did make a Shockmaster, so there's that. But anyway, to the back, where Todd Pettengill interviews Bret Hart. Bret says that he doesn't care if Lawler sends a dentist or a chiropractor or whatever. He also calls Isaac Yankem, "Ya big tooth fairy." Not sure if that's a gay joke or, just a tooth joke. I'll go with the latter.
Cool.
But we got this. Isaac Yankem DDS versus Bret Hart. I will say Glenn Jacobs was in, great shape here. He was jacked to the gills. For those of you that don't know, his theme song, that he came to the ring to, wasn't music. It was just a drill. So, that.
Why wouldn't it be?
No clue. So many questions about this whole gimmick. But the crowd goes,
Just think, in 1 year's time, he'll be Diesel.
Oh, God. And then a year after that, it'll be Kane. Just a revolving door of gimmicks. But the crowd goes absolutely bat crap for Bret. I mean, they blow their crowd, just as loud as for Taker. There were actually multiple match-specific signs for this, which blew my mind.
My favorite to this day is still that one that said, "One sharpshooter keeps the DDS away."
Yeah,
one sharpshooter a day.
One
like that.
Yeah, one sharpshooter a day keeps the dentist away. I was like, what the F? That's almost as bad as the person who made the Dave Sullivan sign with the bunny. God.
What?
I told you about that, right?
No, I mean, you did, but what do you mean? That was great.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I will say that the artwork was good. The fact that they went to all that trouble to make that was awful. Why? God. Well, anyway, Bret locks in the sharpshooter, and Lawler pushes the bottom rope close for Yankem to grab it. Bret beats up Lawler outside, and Yankem jumps off the top rope with an axe handle to Bret's back. That was pretty impressive for a nearly 7-foot-tall man. They eventually tie Bret's neck to the ropes and yank on his leg. They tie him up in the ropes. You know how you get somebody's feet tied up in the ropes? Well, they did that with Bret's neck.
Yeah, the hangman.
Yeah, and they yanked on his legs to choke him out. And eventually...
Oh, I get it. Yanked. Ha ha.
Yeah. I didn't mean it that way, but yeah. And eventually they DQ Yankem. So there you go. Notes, I said, for Glenn Jacobs being a rookie, this match wasn't completely horrible. However, his gimmick was.
No, the match sucked.
Yeah. I'm talking about him himself. He didn't do too bad. Bret tried. Well, the gimmick sucked, but this was simply a means to an end to continue the Hart-Lawler feud. I gave it 2.
But it wasn't the end, because they go in a cage on Raw a couple weeks later.
Well, no, I'm not saying it's being used to continue that feud, but, I mean...
this was an amazing feud, too.
Yeah. But, is Yankem gone, or does,
No, he like I said, they have the cage match. I think that's the blow off.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant. I got it.
And then he is gone for a while until he comes back as fake Diesel.
What the hell ever. I gave it 2 1/3 Uncle Dave's. I don't know. I like Bret.
You're generous.
Yeah, I am. I don't know. Keep in mind, I was super fluish while I was watching the show, so...
so clearly you were delusional.
I guess. To the back, where Doc Hendricks is interviewing Razor Ramon. In the middle of Ramon talking about how history will repeat itself, a pissed-off Bret Hart comes limping through the shot. Razor just stops, looks at him, shrugs, and then goes back to what he was saying. I was like, is that supposed to happen? But he doesn't skip a beat. But Razor says, "You want to dance? Well, Razor, he leads." It was actually a pretty good interview. I love, old school Razor stuff, man. Scott Hall was just fantastic. I was always a big fan. But, yeah, so next we get Shawn Michaels defending the Intercontinental title against Razor Ramon in a ladder match. The crowd goes absolutely banana for Shawn Michaels. He was huge. All right. Big league in Pittsburgh. He's
going to use the ladder and climb over my wall.
What the hell? Oh, man. Anyway, the women are the loudest in the crowd. I will say that.
Go figure.
And the men are actually heard chanting for Razor once the match starts. I don't know what that says about any of this. But Shawn complains from go. All right? Like, he's just complaining this whole time, acting like a brat, that the belt is too damn high. Then when they lower it, he goes up, he shifts the belt around on the hook, he waves off the referee, like, back off, and then he motions, is like, with a thumbs up, like, pull it up. I'm like, well, damn, Shawn. He's just, like, taking charge throughout this whole thing. But Shawn gets superplexed outside of the ring, and his ankle hits the guardrail. He's lucky he could still walk. I was really shocked about that one. There's another time coming up that was pretty scary. You know, the first time Shawn goes to climb the ladder, Razor pulls his effing trunks down and shows his ass to everybody.
Yeah.
Razor shoves the ladder over, and Shawn's foot gets caught. It looks like he could have really done some damage to his knee. So that was twice. He dodged a bullet. But Razor then works the leg with the ladder. Works the leg with that ladder throughout the rest of the match. Shawn tries to recreate the big dive off of the ladder from WrestleMania 10, but Razor moves and Shawn hits the mat. The two men climb the ladder in the center of the ring, and Shawn super kicks Razor off of his ladder. Then he dives for the belt and misses it, crashing the mat. Razor goes for the Razor's Edge, but Michaels backdrops him outside. Shawn then climbs the ladder and grabs the belt, but he falls without the belt. He stands up and picks up another ladder and throws it like a temper tantrum. And then he climbs the ladder again, and he finally grabs the damn belt. This was just like top form Shawn Michaels in his crybaby stage.
Yep.
Pretty soon he was going to be calling Vader a fat piece of crap and telling him to move in the middle of a match. But either way, Razor comes in, he rips the IC title away, he spins Shawn around, he hands him the belt and then shakes his hand. Some mom is shown in the crowd, and she's been hella into this whole show, man. Like, she is dancing to the music. Her son was given the Bret Hart glasses earlier. She is into this show. But, yeah, my notes, I said...
1985, everyone did. Not everyone hated it.
Yeah, right. My notes, I said, classic match that everybody should go out of their way to see. I gave it 4 Uncle Daves. These guys always had great matches. To the back, where Dean Douglas has the word bad on his board. He's given the definition of bad. Razor bursts into the, quote, remote classroom, and he starts going off on Douglas for running his mouth. Douglas says, "This is a classroom, and we don't need any violence here." You know, the guy who came from ECW. Anyway, Razor goes to leave. Douglas spins him around, and Razor pops him with a right hook that looks like he was trying to knock him out. Douglas gets mad and runs his fingernails down the chalkboard. Oh, man, we know where this is going. In your house, baby. I know, spoilers. The guy... Next is the main event, mercifully enough. Because, you know, after we just have this amazing ladder match between Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon, how do we really keep that energy up, Greg?
Well, Diesel versus Mabel, of course.
Exactly. Boom. That'll
Why
keep
the hell
them up.
wouldn't you have that match next?
I don't know.
That's the payoff of the second biggest show of the year.
Right? My God. Well, Mabel.
I was giggling the whole time I said that, by the way. Just so you know.
I'm sure you were. Do you keep a straight face? Mabel is carried to the ring on a throne, and they show a close-up of the faces of the guys carrying him, and they're all struggling hardcore.
Yeah.
They all look like they're trying not to have a hernia. In the back with Todd Pettengill, Diesel says that he's going to go medieval on Mabel. I will say this. During this time period, Kevin Nash looks like he was having a hell of a lot of fun. I mean, until he stepped in the ring and that damn bell had to ring tonight. He was having a lot of fun.
That damn bell had to ring.
For the reference, that ladder match, 25 minutes. This match didn't even hit 10 minutes. So, yeah, your main event, ladies and gents. Say what?
How long was it?
It was 9 minutes, 14 seconds.
Yeah, that's about how long the average crap takes.
What the hell? Wipes included. Either way, it was Diesel defending the WWF title against King Mabel with Sir Mo. Mabel knocks down Diesel and shouts, "I'm going to be the first black champion." He was not.
He said that?
Yes. Go back and listen. He knocks him down. And
I never knew that.
Yeah. Listen, go back. I know it's going to be painful, but go back and watch this. Just like the first minute of the match. He like knocks him down and looks out to the crowd with his fists up in the air and yells, "I'm going to be the first black world champion!" Like, not quite, Mabel. Thank God. But Diesel did a plancha on top of Mabel to the outside at one point. Most of this match, by the way, is Mabel beating the piss out of Diesel and looking really winded while doing it. We can see where Mabel sits with his full weight on Diesel's lower back, and Diesel just lays there breathing heavily. Mabel tries to lock in a camel clutch, but Diesel's not cooperating. And if you go and listen to Kevin Nash's shoot interviews on this, it's because he says his body went numb when that happened. He said he was having back problems, and he specifically told Mabel, "Do not sit your fat ass on my back." And he did.
He didn't just sit, he plopped on him, man.
He plopped on him. I love that. Oh man, it was hard to watch. I mean, knowing what happened, but yeah. Then all of a sudden, Lex Luger randomly runs in and Diesel takes him out. Him and Mo. Like, I was like, why did you think Lex was against you, bro? Because of Davey Boy? I don't know.
Yep.
But Mabel drops the leg on Diesel outside of the ring. Mo rolls Diesel back in. I should call him C-Mo Green, because that's what he looked like.
Wow.
Luger then attacks Mo. What the hell is even going on here? By the way, they don't explain any of this during the event. They just, if you didn't watch Raw, you're SOL. Diesel hits a flying forearm off of the second rope and pins Mabel for the win. Yes, that was the finish.
Well, he wasn't going to jackknife him.
Oh, well, hell no. But, well, he could have big booted him like he did to Sid. I don't know. But while he's celebrating with all of his pyro, you can tell Diesel's in a lot of pain, but he's trying to fight through it. I said this match was slow, sucked, and was confusing as hell, but Diesel tried his best, I guess. I gave it 1 1/4 Uncle Dave, and I might have been being generous. This match sucked. No buys.
Bad.
Indeed. But yet somehow, Bruce Pritchard cleared this up on his podcast. He said, for some reason, Vince always saw dollar bills in Mabel. Always. And I'm like, did any evidence from the past show you that that's correct? Like a correct way of thinking? Because I'm going to say no. What the hell ever. Either way, now we're going to hop over to the WCW side of things, and it actually, this one was actually the best show I've seen all year out of them. So I enjoyed watching Fall Brawl. But before we jump over there real quick, we're going to take a quick promo break. When we come back, it's WCW Fall Brawl. We'll be right back.
DramaCityProductions.com.
Hey, it's Chris from the Stackcast. Join myself, Christian, and Missy as we bring you all the gaming news you need to know. With our penchant for sarcasm, we're throwing out all the social justice bullshit and are giving you 100% uncensored gaming news and opinion. So follow us down the rabbit hole that is our minds, and may God have mercy on your ears.
DramaCityProductions.com.
Small Town Mentality Podcast with your host, Ben. A podcast about nothing and everything. A podcast where we get together with friends, drink beer, and see where the conversation takes us. We don't edit. We don't care what people say. It's small town people with a small town mentality. It gets offensive at times, lots of swearing, and a whole lot of not caring. Available everywhere you get podcasts. You can find us on Twitter at STMPod, on Instagram at STMPodcast, and on Facebook at Small Town Mentality Pod. We'll see you there.
And we're back, ladies and gents. It is time to go down south. And I'm being literal this time. We went from Pittsburgh to Asheville, North Carolina, to the Asheville Civic Center for WCW Fall Brawl WarGames. The tagline, "Let the games begin," took place September 17th, 1995, just a few days before my birthday. 6,600 people in attendance. They actually got a pretty good show out of this, I will say, so good for them. That's not saying that all these matches were good. Keep that in mind. But there was enough good on it to make it a not complete crap watch. Tony Schiavone says that...
I don't know if you're trying to convince us or yourself. But...
A little bit of both. I don't know. Tony Schiavone says that the Giant used a monster truck to run over Hulk Hogan's motorcycle, and Bobby Heenan says that the Giant says that he's sorry. He's sorry that Hogan wasn't on the bike when he ran it over. So, healing it up right off the bat. So, by the way, now they know who the Giant is. So that's something. He does not wrestle on this show. Opening match, Flying Brian versus Johnny B. Bad. The winner gets a shot at the U.S. title. Now, I like Brian, and I don't have anything particularly against Mark Merrow, but when I saw this match, I was like, oh, God. But it turned out to be really good. I will say Johnny is full of gimmicks. He was throwing frisbees to the crowd. He was carrying a confetti gun. It was stupid. But the crowd loved it, so whatever. Nick Patrick is the referee. He shaved his mustache. What the hell, Greg?
Oh.
Yeah, he's still got the mullet, but no stash. Just what the hell?
That's all that matters when you really think about it.
He doesn't look like Kenny Powers anymore. What the hell?
No, but now he looks like the Nick Patrick.
I guess. But anyway, these two run at each other and tried for a double clothesline, but it looked more like Brian and Johnny did a double do-si-do, and they just fell down. A young kid is holding a sign that says, "Bobby the Brain Heenan for president." And Heenan says, "That's the mayor of Asheville right there." Oh, man. Brian is the first to go heelish, because they're both baby faces in this match, by the way. But Brian goes heelish, and he punches Johnny, busts him open. He later goes full-on heel and gets booed. Brian asks for a handshake at one point, and Johnny actually seems like an intelligent person and doesn't shake his hand. That blew my mind. But the time limit expired. They go to sudden death. To describe their brawling at one point, Tony Schiavone uses the word Donnybrook. And he wasn't being sarcastic. Like, he used that in a serious manner. I just blew my mind. The finish was a crisscross in the ropes into a double crossbody, and then Johnny lays on Brian for the win. Notes, I said this was a fantastic opening match. Hardly any blown spots, and the crowd was on their feet. I gave it 3 3/4 Uncle Dave's, actually. But at the end of it, Johnny was frickin' drenched in sweat, man. Like, dripping buckets. But we go to the back with Mean Gene Okerlund interviewing Ric Flair. Flair puts over his longtime friendship with Arn Anderson and the fact that they are in Horseman country. These two will actually do battle tonight, and it was glorious, but we'll get to that. What was not glorious, Greg? Up next, we've got Cobra versus Sergeant Craig Pitbull Pittman. This effing match, man. I never heard of Cobra. He's just a big jacked up dude. And his entrance theme is literally Morse code.
Yep.
Okay. Cobra is allegedly a member of the CIA, even though he dresses like he's like a Navy SEAL. I don't know if WCW knew the difference. He gives a little kid in the crowd his dog tags and then salutes him. So I guess that's his gimmick, to be a babyface. Some random, quote, Marine comes to the ring for Pittman, and he distracts Cobra while Pittman descends from the ceiling wearing camo and war paint. He sneaks...
Real quick, that Marine is Prince Iakea.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how about that? There's your little factoid for the podcast. Oh, but yeah, so I will say this was kind of cool, but I don't know. But Pittman comes from the ceiling in camo and war paint. He gets in the ring, and he takes off his belt, and he chokes Cobra with it. The announcers plug Nitro heavily throughout this whole night, by the way. You told me it started like 2 weeks before this.
Mm-hmm.
So, for all of you wondering, SummerSlam, that run-in from Luger, last time we'll see him on WWF pay-per-view. The announcers plug... I already said that. The Brain says that the announcers are, for Nitro, by the way, are Eric Bischoff and Steve McNuggets.
McNuggets.
I was like, what the F? Pittman locks in the Code Red, which is a cross arm breaker, for the submission win. Notes, I said, short, boring, no one gave a damn, but it was quite an original way to start a match. I gave it half an Uncle Dave. Wasn't even really a match. Yeah, it wasn't even really a match. They then... Oh, man, this is the segment, Greg. They cut to a video of Paul Orndorff in his locker room, and he's questioning whether or not he's even Mr. Wonderful anymore. You know where this is going, Greg.
I think he had broken his mirror, right?
No, he kept losing matches. And so
because he broke his mirror.
No, I don't know.
If I remember right, he kept losing because he thought he was cursed.
I don't know. But I mean, they didn't put that part over, but all of a sudden a guy with a white chia pet on his head walks in, and Orndorff says literally this, word for word. He says, "Gary Spivey of the Psychic Companions Network? What are you doing here?"
Yeah, I remember that. That was like the worst acting in history.
I'm like, what the F?
Yeah.
And what the hell is the Psychic Companions Network? And what is on his head? Allegedly, that was his real hair. Like, I say allegedly because that's a lie. I'm calling it now. It's a lie from hell. There's no way. Gary claims that he had a, quote, vision and had to come see Paul. It's just... All right, anyway, Orndorff claims that he used to be the, quote, highest-rated wrestler in the entire world and had so many belts I couldn't carry them all. Like, what? Like, this thing just kept getting dumber.
How dare you?
And then Gary just told Orndorff to look in the mirror. And Paul says that, and he was like, "What do you see?" And he's like, "I see Mr. Wonderful." And then Paul starts kissing his own arms and repeatedly saying, "I am Mr. Wonderful." Then Gary walks off as Paul makes love to himself.
Good grief.
Like he kisses.
Oh man.
He kisses his own reflection in the mirror. That
was some of the most worst acting I've ever seen in my life, by the way. It's
all
coming back to me.
It wasn't even like, even if this was like, I don't know, pick two great actors. Like we'll say Will Smith and Johnny Depp even. They couldn't have pulled this off. Like this was just like the worst. Didn't make sense. Stupid. And it's just like, why? Why is this on my wrestling show?
Because.
And who the hell knew who this guy was?
That I don't know.
It would have been better if it was Miss Cleo or something. At least I would have got a laugh out of that one. I mean, don't get me wrong, I got a laugh out of this dude's hair. Golly, this was bad. Didn't make me care any more for Paul Orndorff than I already did. By the way, speaking of Paul Orndorff, Chris Jericho said when he was waiting for, I believe it was Eric Bischoff in his office one time, he was having to wait for like 20 minutes with Paul Orndorff of all people. And freaking Paul, Mr. Wonderful Orndorff said, oh, it's small guys like us that are going to change the industry. What?
Wow.
Chris was like, small guys like us. He was like, I didn't say it, but I was like, dude, I watched you face Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania. You were jacked to the gills. What the hell? Anyway, speaking of jacked to the gills, this next match, man, golly, the Renegade with Jimmy Hart. He's defending the TV title against DDP with the Diamond Doll and Max Muscle. Renegade actually got cheered for his entrance, and that's where it stopped. You know what was weird about this? Was he was actually smaller than DDP. That was funny.
He was off the juice.
I guess. Renegade actually hits a handspring back elbow in the corner to DDP. That shocked me. Max Muscle gets on the apron. Jimmy Hart smacks him in the calf, distracting him, and then DDP gets thrown into him. Renegade then dives onto him, goes to get in the ring, but Max Muscle holds onto his boot, and DDP hits the diamond cutter, and he wins. Kimberly is visibly upset. Ah, man. I said, while this match was not good, DDP was able to get a presentable match out of him, I guess. I gave it 1 3/4 Uncle Dave's, so it didn't even hit average. Hey, this is another bad freaking Renegade match. But the fact that it wasn't like completely bat crap or just like terrible, like just goes to show that DDP was a hell of a worker. This next one, though, I don't even know what to say about it. Bunkhouse Buck and, what is this, week number 4 I get to say this? Dirty Dick Slater with Colonel Robert Parker. They are defending the tag team titles against the Harlem Heat with Sister Sherry. Do you notice that, like, Harlem Heat's been involved in every single tag title match this whole year? Like, in some way, shape, or form? Like, I realized they weren't, like, in the match against, like, when it was the Blue Bloods and the Nasty Boys, but they got involved in the match. Like, all freaking year. Anyway.
Well, that's their team.
I guess. Harlem Heat has been on or seen on every single pay-per-view this year thus far. I put that in my notes just to remind myself. That's just a crazy stat. Parker is paying more attention to Sherry than to the match. Apparently there's something going on where Sherry hit her head and now she's in love with Parker and Parker's in love with her. It's weird. Both teams cheat against each other in one ring, because remember it's WarGames, so there are 2 rings. So in one ring, the 4 men are all wrestling. In the other ring, Sherry and Colonel are making out. It was sick. The ref gets distracted. The Nasty Boys run in and hit Dick Slater with his own boot. And Harlem Heat get the win. Parker doesn't care, continuing to make out with Sherry. If I were him, I wouldn't care either. Parker's team gets mad at him. Harlem Heat gets mad at Sherry. They all leave angry. Notes, I said, this match feels like it went on forever. 2 Uncle Dave's. I just didn't give a damn. Mean Gene comes out on the stage. He interviews Bunkhouse Buck, Dirty Dick Slater, and Colonel Robert Parker. Buck runs down Parker for losing his concentration, and Parker says that he loves Sherry, and he'll get his team another title match. Gene's got a huge smudge on his tuxedo shirt, I noticed. It was kind of weird, because that was the arm he kept holding up. He had this huge blue spot on his shirt. I'm like, what the hell happened? I don't know. The commentators then put over Halloween Havoc and WarGames, and then it's to the back with Mean Gene Okerlund and Arn Anderson. Gene throws it to a video package on the problems between Anderson and Flair. Then they cut back to Anderson, who puts over his relationship with Flair pretty well, cutting a great promo. And then we get this match. and it is awesome. It is Arn Anderson versus Ric Flair, ladies and gents. The camera shows a bunch of wrestlers in the crowd coming out to see this match. Arn dominates early parts of the match, working the arm of Flair. Once Flair fights back, it's constant back and forth. Anderson goes for a DDT, but Flair hooks the ropes and Anderson drops. Flair flops before getting up to the top and getting caught and thrown off. Typical spot. Trying to find out here. The ending of the match. Here we go. Flair gets the advantage with a figure 4. Arn blocks it for a moment, but Flair eventually locks it in. Flair punches Anderson's knee while he's got the hold on him, and he even spits on Arn at one point. Arn reverses the pressure, and they break it. Arn can barely stand up, and Rick chop blocks him. He goes for the figure 4, but Arn rolls him up into a near fall. Flair goes to whip Anderson, but Arn drops, unable to stand. And then Flying Brian climbs out of the crowd. He gets on the apron, and he punches Flair behind the ref's back. Flair punches him, and then Brian does like a jump kick with his cowboy boot right to the side of Flair's head, busting him open. Arn hits a DDT on Flair, and he gets the win. Crowd explodes, but it's like 50-50 for Arn. The notes, I said, I couldn't help but think that if this was Russo booking this, he'd have all of this build-up in anticipation, months of planning, and then these two would have hugged it out and swerved everybody. The audience would have got pissed. Am I wrong?
No, but that's Russo. It has nothing to do with this one, at least.
Yeah, well, I was like, I kept saying, I'm like, man, they got all the boys in the crowd. Everybody's anticipating building it up. Oh, there's this big problem. This is going to be a match of the century. And then Vince would have swerved everybody. It would have been awful. But yeah, this was great, and I'm anxious to see where the Bryan storyline goes. I did not look ahead. Amazing match. 2 of the best. I gave it 4 Uncle Daves. Have you seen this match?
Oh yeah.
It was really good, even with the screwy finish. But here we go, man. They show a promo for the WarGames match with Kevin Sullivan. If I did a ton of acid and smoked about a pound of weed, I still could not have come up with this crap. This promo was nuts and bad. But then they show a promo for Hogan's team and say that Vader, quote, went AWOL. Didn't he get fired?
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Because Nitro started up. Yeah, so he got fired. Yeah. But anyway. So Sting voted for Lex Luger to be a part of the team. However, they don't know if he can be trusted. Now, to the back, where Mean Gene is interviewing the painted-up, battle-ready Hulkamaniacs. Hulk says that they just drank a couple of gallons of Agent Orange. That's not advisable. He says that this makes them impervious to pain. Look, I'm just going to take a stab in the dark, but I'm thinking Hogan doesn't know what Agent Orange does.
Yeah.
Macho Man.
Who does?
The people who are dying from it, that's who. Macho Man says that they are a united front. Sting says that he doesn't want to talk, he just wants to go to war. Luger says that his camo is on and he's completely with his team. Then Hogan says that he looked Luger in the eye and he could tell that he's, quote, American-made head to toe. Jimmy Hart then says something and looks damn goofy. As Hogan's talking, Sting runs in front of the camera shouting, "Woo!" like a crazy person. This was nuts. Mean Gene keeps calling the Zodiac Man. This whole promo is just bat crap insane, man. It was nuts. But it was fun. We now go to WarGames. It's the Hulkamaniacs, which is Hulk Hogan, Sting, Macho Man, and Lex Luger with Jimmy Hart in their corner versus the Dungeon of Doom. It is Kamala, Mang, the Shark, and the Zodiac. And they have the Taskmaster in their corner. My God, this team sucked. And Greg, when you look at that team, the Zodiac, the Shark, Mang, and Kamala, who are you going to put in there first that can be your Iron Man?
Well, the Zodiac, of course.
Well, actually, he would be one of my top choices. But no, they put in the freaking Shark, who is huge.
Huge.
The Shark, by the way, is announced at being over 400 or 540 pounds, even though he doesn't look that much bigger than Kamala. So something tells me they're lying. Meng is now announced as Meng, the Face of Terror, because they can't call him the Face of Fear. For some reason, Macho Man has white tape wrapped around his legs of his pants. It looks hella weird. Sting and the Shark are first. Shark dominates Sting for about a minute, and Sting fights back. This was a cool spot. Shark goes in the other ring, and Sting leaps over both ropes with a clothesline. That was awesome. Shark eventually gets the advantage back. Sting gets in the other ring. Shark tries the same dive, and he just lands on the top of both ropes. Oh my gosh! They said he was a fish out of water. But both men go back and forth, and Sting locks in the Scorpion Deathlock when the Zodiac comes in, and Zodiac's next, by the way, and Sting hangs on the top of the cage and kicks him. That was pretty cool. Shark gets help from Zodiac. They double team Sting. Sting gets basically dominated until Macho Man comes in, beating both heels up. Heels get advantage on Macho Man, then the heels they're pulling Sting's arm under the cage because it didn't connect to the ring. He basically gets free and they go back and forth. The heels pull Savage halfway out of the cage under it and beat the crap out of him. Kamala is next in, because why not? Never thought I'd see him in a WarGames. The heels take firm control. Lex Luger is next in. He cleans house. Luger accidentally hits Savage, and then Sting tries to pull him apart. Meng is last in for the heels. Meng has some custom tights finally, and full face paint. Kind of weird. But the heels take firm advantage now. And then Hogan is the last in, and he powders everyone in the eyes like a true baby face. But they cover this up by saying... Oh, yeah. But they cover this all up by saying, oh, he's going to war. Sure. Later, Sting powders someone in the face as well. The baby faces take firm control over the dungeon. Hogan has some cartoonish offense against Zodiac, and then he spends most of the match... They spend most of the match fighting each other. Shark is drenched in sweat and sucking wind at this point, by the way. Shocker. The finish is Hogan locks Zodiac in the camel clutch, and Zodiac keeps shouting, yes, no, yes, no. And then finally the ref just gives up and he calls for the bell. Notes, I said it was fit, muscled, tan baby faces taking on the 2 in-shape guys and 2 fat older guys. That being said, this wasn't terrible. It just wasn't super great. The, quote, match beyond didn't really last very long. That about what I expected. The match type kind of saved it somewhat for me since I love WarGames. I gave it 2 1/4 Uncle Dave. Probably not one of the better WarGames matches, I would assume.
No, it wasn't the worst though.
Oh no, that was later. Didn't it involve Stevie effing Ray?
Yep. He was with Bret Hart and Hogan. Which one of these does not belong?
That and probably WarGames 2000, right?
At least that was interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, after this match, the stipulation was the winner, or if the Hulkamaniacs won, then Hogan gets Taskmaster alone in the cage. Well, Taskmaster tries to leave, but security makes him go back to the cage. Sting eventually grabs him and throws him in. Hogan ping-pongs Taskmaster off the cage over and over, and he beats him outside of the cage and then back inside. Hogan beats Sullivan like Kevin's got some random, he's some random jobber or a manager or something. And Kevin Sullivan's supposed to be fresh as a daisy at this point, by the way. And he's an actual wrestler. But he's getting beat on like Hogan owes, he owes Hogan money. Finally, the Giant comes out, and he moves Randy Anderson aside. So he picks him up and moves him aside like a child. And then he gets in the cage. He leaps over the top rope, Not once, but twice. That was pretty cool. But he goes up to Hogan. Hogan tries fighting Giant, but Giant is like no-selling his offense. Giant chokes him, and then like he chokes him to the ground, grabs his head, and then pretends to snap his neck. And Hogan lays there dead. The Hulkamaniacs then rush the cage, but Giant and Taskmaster take off. They're acting like Hogan is really dead, and Michael Buffer even goes over the PA and says that they need paramedics at ringside. Bobby Heenan cackles like a witch as they go off the air.
Hulkamania is gone forever, bro.
Well, that's still a couple months away, but the alliance to end Hulkamania is yet to come. But yeah, I can't believe they had him snap his neck on pay-per-view. And then he just comes in like nothing's happened. Like he's going to be perfectly fine before Starrcade. I don't know what to say. Like, feels like it. By the way, earlier in the night they were playing the promos where Hogan was saying, like, in that promo, he was like, when he was near the Giant, he was like, "Oh, I could feel a presence. I felt Andre, brother." I was like, "Sure you did, Hulk."
Sure you did.
Yeah. No, you just smelled dollar bills, brother. That works for me, brother. Oh,
I smell dollar bills and monster trucks on top of Cobo Hall.
Oh my gosh, you're getting ahead of us here, Greg. Man, yeah, he died and won the world title all on the same show. So how about that, man? WCW. Crap was crazy back then.
Sure, Russo ain't there.
Nope, just Kevin Sullivan. Damn you, Kevin. Anyway, all right. Well, that about wraps this one up. I know we promised 3 shows on this one, but we ended up going a little long. It was a terrible ass SummerSlam, and then this show had a lot to it. It was actually really good. Well, I don't want to say really good. It was good compared to the other crap I've had to withstand.
It was good.
Compared to the other crap we've seen from WCW this year, this was not bad. So, yeah. Good for them for not completely sucking.
Yet.
Yeah. Well, speaking of completely sucking, next episode, Greg, we will bump In Your House 3 to the next show because we will cover In Your House 3 and 4 next time around. And Halloween Havoc from WCW. I've not looked ahead, so I don't know what the cards are. But I've already watched In Your House 3. Boring. Not very noteworthy. In Your House 4, by the way, is Seasons Beatings, where we did a watch-along to that awesome Arkansas Hog Pen match. Ugh.
Yeehaw.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for joining me today, Greg.
Yeah, it was fun punishing myself again.
We will see you all next time. Later.
Later.
This has been a Drama City production.